Good evening, you're watching The Big Question. I'm Sanjana. India's AI moment is here, but not without consequences. As global tech giants chase efficiency, automation is quietly rewriting the rules of the job market. Over 40% of Microsoft's layoffs in its home state of Washington were from software engineering alone. Accenture, while proudly touting a $1 billion productivity gain, has also eliminated 40,000 roles in the name of progress. And yet, the same technology that's displacing workers is also birthing a whole new kind of white-collar gig economy. From banks to IT firms to retailers, companies worldwide and here in India are embracing automation and AI not only to transform their businesses, but also to quietly shrink their human workforce. Is this the inevitable price of progress? Or is it an excuse to sacrifice employees in the name of shareholder value? And for Indian professionals in tech, finance and services, what should you prepare for as AI begins to automate higher value work? Tonight and this evening, we break down the hype, the economics and the human impact. Let me quickly introduce my panel this evening. Tanuj Bhojwani, AI startup founder, ex-head of people and AI tech insider building the tools. Aditya Narayan Mishra, MD and CEO of CIEL HR, in constant touch with India Inc.'s hiring pulse. Suchita Datta, Executive Director, Indian Staffing Federation, giving us workforce trends and a policy view. Jitin Chawla, Career Counselor, helping professionals navigate these disruptions firsthand. Good evening to all of you joining me this evening and welcome to The Big Question. Tanuj, we're seeing massive layoffs. What types of tech and support roles are vanishing first? And would you say that this is just the beginning?
It is definitely just the beginning. I think India saw a lot of lower level, low skilled, white collar jobs becoming, part of the BPO and then the GCC, right? In all functions, tasks that could be done remotely that you don't need a person in, sitting in your office to do,
Sure.
were sent here. So this is the highest, primest jobs, sort of prime for automation. Call center support centers, again, associated with India a lot, are going away. The next one is low-level engineering fixes, right? Software fixes. I think AI writes code, which is possible. It's not great. You can't do complex applications, but you can fire a lot of engineers who are doing low-level support roles where you just needed an engineer to work on only one problem because that problem was not, complex enough to automate away. So I would say that India is right in the firing path. All of our white collar workers are in danger of seeing the skill set that they've developed. PCS, Infosys hires will see a lot more layoffs than you will see in the higher level skills of the AI revolution and sort of higher management employees, at least the way that technology stands right now.
Okay, all right. Aditya, what hiring trends are you seeing? Are companies replacing engineers or are they upskilling them?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, Sanjana. I think I agree with what Tanuj says that there are repetitive tasks, transactional activities, those are going away. However, I think there are a lot of upskilling activity which is happening at the same time. If we really go back in time, let's say when computerization happened in a large scale in our banking ecosystem across the country, so many people felt that these jobs are going to go away. It's going to create so much of job losses and things like that. But what happened, we saw as a result of the computerization, efficiency increased. It created disruption for sure. And as a result, some people upskilled themselves. Some, of course, struggled and took VRS. But banking as a sector has become a lot larger. Just look at the number of jobs today in the banking sector versus what it was earlier. If we didn't embrace technology that time, it would have been a disaster. So right now we are going through a phase of disruption. I think there are a lot of new jobs which are coming up. We are recruiting people with advanced skills in AI who can design bots, who can create new experiences for customers with higher levels of efficiency and AI capability. I think things are still unfolding. We will see interesting new things which are going to happen. For sure, a few jobs are going to go away, new roles are going to get created. To give you an example, maybe let's say recruiter as a role, a lot of their transaction activities will be performed by AI. The new recruiter will need to have the skill to use an AI tool alongside and transform his or her role from being a recruiter to a maybe a career pilot who has to match someone's career expectations with what the organization is looking for. So that's in short, I look at the future.
Okay, maybe Jitin, that's something that you can take on as a moniker going forward. But before I come to you, Suchita, we're seeing AI training organizations hire massively from India. Is the massive back-end work really sustainable, or do you think that India is just an interim cost advantage at this point?
See, Sanjana, the good part is that India is a resilient country and learns fast under pressure. So from a perspective, if I were to look at it, that yes, at this point of time, we have almost 79% of the companies who are today becoming AI ready or trying to be ready, whereas the demand could be as high as 91%. We are not there. On the other hand, we have 1 crore people coming out of the colleges who are possibly not being trained on the current AI or the demands that are going to be there. So we do definitely have the benefit of demographic dividend, and there is a huge potential for us to fill the gap, whether it's interim or we can really come up the curve and be on top of things like what we have done in the service industry is yet to be seen. India is perennially a labor-intensive country, prefers to be on that direction. However, the future of work is definitely going to ask for a lot of change. 65% of the jobs are going to undergo changes in the near future, in the next 2 to 3 years, which means that anything that we have prepared or studied or being educated for at this point of time will not stand valid after a point of time. And in global scale, India is definitely a place where they will find abundance of talent, and access to talent is also going to be very future ready once we are able to pick up the pace. So right now, the policy change and the skill deficit that we have, if we are able to overcome those two challenges, we definitely are here for a longer period of time rather than just a fixed cap situation that can be looked at only as a back office, if I were to put it that way.
Said that, and that's quite reassuring. But NASSCOM is warning about 2/3 of jobs at risk with skill deflation outpacing credential growth. Jitin Chawla, how should professionals then future-proof themselves when their expertise has such a short shelf life?
So there are a couple of things happening. First of all, it is a lot of fields are getting amalgamated. Today it is not. So maybe 15 years back, I think of finance as a profession, or I think of technical. But today it is fintech, which is amalgamation of finance and tech. It is retail tech. It is prop tech. Prop tech yet, like if I go to Dubai, it is Bayou.com which sells, or in US it is Zillow.com. So the major challenge is one, a lot of parents in India, they think of only conventional careers, so they need to broaden their horizons so that children can be guided. Similarly, schools, colleges need to broaden their horizons. And then what specific things to look at? Data visualization skills. See, any AI system thrives on data. So data literacy, data visualization tools. So I'm a management professional. I need to digest a lot of data, So AI fundamentals. I think everyone, I'm going to take up psychology. I need to know basics of AI. At my office, so we are a career counseling firm. So we use AI we use AI generated curriculum. So I get let's say a 12th class student coming in, I get a graduate student coming in. So we would make a curriculum for them that how do you go and explore and come back the second time after exploring these YouTube channels, online, Discord communities and so on. So the way we were career counseling now and say 2 years back is completely different thanks to AI. I mean, we are using AI in our system. Similarly, some soft skills like, human judgment, adaptability, lifelong learning has to be there. So it will not be that I have done this course, I have got into a job and I'll keep on doing it. Leadership. So there are people who can work very well with people. Now that's a skill which you develop over a period of time, but you can think about it and you can start developing it while you're in college, while you are in, you're doing your post graduation, while you're working also. You can take on online courses, you can go out, you need diversity of experiences also to build up so that you are ready for the next jump.
Sure. Okay, so Aditya, then would you say if Indian employers are ready to move beyond that degree first hiring to more true skill based models then?
Yeah, I think organizations have started doing this, Sanjana, already, because the changes are happening all around them. So they need to really deal with this and come up with this. Secondly, in our also the employees have started understanding the gravity of this, and they are investing consciously on upskilling. For example, an adult typically saves some money for maybe future planning or to invest on an asset and things like that. Probably now financial planners will actually put a certain section of one's earnings for upskilling. Upskilling responsibility cannot only be of the organization. Now individuals need to upskill, because whatever skills they will have, its longevity or relevance will be challenged much faster than it was done in the past. So that's the second thing which is happening. I think we all need to recognize and have to advise the younger people to do it. And finally, I think our curriculum, Jitin spoke about the curriculum part of it. I think our educational ecosystem also has to emerge very rapidly to adapt to this. Learning has to be a lifelong thing. People need to sort of accept this new reality and work towards it continuously. So, ability to learn, ability to solve problems, ability to work with an AI tool has to be sort of the new norm. I'm not sure how many of us in the labor pool today accept this new norm. So these are things which are happening, I think, over a period of time with role of media and various other people. People will realize it and work towards it.
Okay, so you're essentially saying it's probably the fear of the unknown, which is why the hesitancy, and maybe that's why people need to really upskill and then embrace that this is the future. So, you made a point about upskilling. Tanuj, talking about upskilling, what skills would you say are in demand for AI model training and data labeling? Also, what is the one skill that will remain relevant no matter how fast and how quickly AI advances?
Actually, I was waiting for that question because I would like to say this. I would like to say this. If you are somebody who's worried about AI, the best thing you can do is be high integrity and be reliable. What these models are still not able to do is explain how they function. So even when you implement an AI strategy, I see companies spending almost like 20% of their effort in building something AI, which is very simple to do now, very easy to put together. But then 80% just getting reliability out of it, making sure that if it fails, somebody knows it's failed. And the classic way to do that is human in the loop. So you have these, what were otherwise high skilled job becoming low skilled jobs of supervision. So you may have a teacher or an accountant who used to write the accounting or do the accounting and do the books, but now you have an AI doing the accounts books and the accountant is simply verifying it. And the accountant by verifying is writing his own death knell, because once he gives enough, good, bad labels, that AI will become even better. What remains in demand is somebody who takes responsibility of a job and gets it done, whether using AI or using people, right? And a lot of this I'm seeing in India right now. Because of this AI advance, I'm seeing accounting firms in India take over accounting firms in the US, because they are able to go to these people and say, hey, look, we'll use AI. So we'll give you a closing of the books in one day, what usually takes 15 days. Knowing your P&L today is much more valuable than knowing in 15 days. Companies might even be willing to pay more. But what these companies are saying, you pay us less because A, we're using AI, and where AI fails, I'm using Indian CAs who charge a lot less, 70,000 rupees instead of $70,000 per year, right? And with this reliability is, I would say, high in demand, continue to stay high in demand. Be a person who can deliver what they say. On data labeling, on data engineering, the low level, entry level sort of jobs or like manual labor in the AI age. We will benefit from it in the short run, like Suchita said, because of the demographic dividend. But I don't think it's something we should bank on. I think what we should bank on is now with these AI tools, we should move up the value chain and go replace US service firms. Because very honestly, the other industry of manufacturing or whatever is also only 10 years away from being fully automated with robots. So we've been behind on that. We've not managed to go as far ahead as we'd like. Um, and hopefully, therefore, before that wave comes in, we will manage to get on the increase in the services value chain, going higher up rather than depending on manufacturing.
So what you're essentially saying that in exchange, what has happened is that there has been a temporary new creation of some kind of gig economy, right? Of these people that are training and building these very models. But is it stable? Suchita, are these project-based AI jobs secure, or then are we seeing a new class of disposable gig workers?
We are living in a phase where we are just food is not just the fast food. I think we are living in a pace of fast paced jobs, and we are looking in a situation where it is fast paced skill development. So as Aditya has already put in that, if you're not continuously upskilling, and that goes for the projects, because the projects are going to be continuously needing upgradation. Today, whatever is relevant for current market, and the market is evolving so fast and so subtle that it is very difficult to put a finger to it and say, okay, fine, this is an industry or this is a place where my project will last for years. A project's lifetime is only as far as the next project doesn't come in. So I don't think the way the gig has been defined to be seen that this will be a continuous money changing thing. I think the money changing will only happen when you're fastly upgrading to the new systems that are coming in. And I mean, the way you saw deep search come in one day and disrupted the entire thing, that ChatGPT was very nicely, happily thinking that it will build a whole vision of how the things are going to be. But things change in deep research. India is going to be coming out with its own, AI tool very soon. And as I always reflect that, we have an India and we have a Bharat. India is the one that is getting scared because they're more aware and they know how to possibly still have access to what they need to change. It is the Bharat that we need to be worried about, that, how to upskill them, how to handhold them, and how to bring them up to the scale where they are able to efficiently actually take mileage out of the system. Because with the PLI schemes coming in, etc., there is a lot of focus that India needs to do on manufacturing. And on the other hand, the manufacturing is going towards automation. So the labor-intensive country that we are popularly known as, if we are going towards automation, the skill needs to move towards that. The training at the Bharat level needs to move towards that. So that's where I look at.
Okay, so then Jitin, would you say that our colleges are updating curriculums fast enough to keep up with this?
So honestly, not as much. Maybe if I would give a percentage, say maybe 5% of the universities, colleges are ready, but I look at a lot of...
that, sorry to cut you off, but that 5% would be where? And which parts of India?
So I would look at the top institutions like Triple IT. I really respect for the kind of work they're doing. Triple IT was the first to introduce courses like BTech Computer Science and Design, BTech Biosciences and Computer Science and Social Sciences. Imagine, 50% seats reserved for humanities students, which a lot of people don't even know about, So Triple IT's, few IITs, I would say, IIT Hyderabad set up AI research lab quite early in the day. A lot of institutions set up incubation centers. But even surprisingly, even in Delhi, a lot of state-run universities also need to build up their act. There is lack of, I would say, understanding of entrepreneurship, lack of setting up incubation centers and teachers training. In fact, at the college level, I was participating in a function and the DU Vice Chancellor at that time suggested strongly about teachers training, and there were protests, So somewhere the professors and the teachers need to realize that today is not the day and age to protest, rather to upskill and to grow. So the biggest challenge I think in the mindset we need is don't fight AI, but rather work with it. It's not that AI versus you. It is basically you have to work with it. You cannot tell people, like, again, I met up with the vice chancellor of a top university in Europe, in Singapore, and this person says that in our classroom, this is almost 1.5 years back. So in our classroom, we are encouraging people to use AI. We are giving assignments which, in spite of usage of AI, the professors have been trained on how to analyze it. So they had already worked on it. That is yet to happen in India. I'm not seeing that happening in India. Also, another mindset is a lot of parents are coming at a school level and saying we should do technical courses because the world is changing. Not correct. Even if you are a commerce or a management or economics person, maybe you are a psychology person, still you will use AI. Whatever you do, you'll still use AI. AI is like people learn Excel, people learn Word.
Sure.
So today we need data literacy. We need to embed AI in all these systems, but definitely a strong change needed right from the policy level and down to colleges and even schools.
Okay, so let me scratch the surface a little bit more on that, Jitin. Then, if we're assuming that AI is the baseline, do you then worry that perhaps too many fresh graduates, young people, are potentially getting stuck in what is now, only for now I'm saying, in a largely unorganized short-term gig with no upward mobility?
Yes, absolutely, because organized jobs have been falling, and this year, even last year, it was. I'm sure there were news reports about IIT Mumbai. There's such a premium institution, and the jobs are not happening.
Right.
And so many thousands of colleges. Think of colleges in Greater Noida, Meerut, Faridabad. It's Greater Faridabad, all over the place. So it's a big issue. And yes, these people will get into some jobs, and maybe they'll shift and change and do something else. I know people who have done engineering but today went into property management, or somebody who has done BBA trying to look at a course in psychology. Both things. One, they were not really meant for it. Second, they realized that jobs are not happening. So especially for tech people, I think it's for people who are coming out right now, it is not going to be an easy task. They have to really pull up their socks and learn how to fight.
So then let's come to, the slightly older lot in the workforce then. Aditya, then would it be that it's okay for us to expect people that are mid to high level career to be able to upskill, every 5 years or even shorter than that? Is that expectation realistic?
I mean, that's going to be the reality. It's difficult, of course, for those people, because people who studied, graduated out of the colleges and universities 20 years ago, this was not the norm. The norm was that you get into a job and your career, you go where your career takes you.
Right.
You don't have to really necessarily upskill. And the responsibility of upskilling was with the employer, not with the individual. So now the reality is very different. And like I said, the example of automation, computerization, and BFSI banks, that time there was a huge amount of disruption. So now we are going to see a lot of disruption for sure. But it is in our good interest that we should sort of embrace it. We have to act with agility. So individuals have to act with agility. Of course, organizations have to do their best to make sure that their people are loyal, they are advocating their brand, and they are growing with the new reality. And thirdly, I think, this is so how soon people are able to emerge out of this is a question that, like Suchita said, India has always been known for the agility and the ingenuity. So like the banks have grown, just look at their balance sheets, innovations have happened. So similarly, I'm very confident that a large part of the working people as well as the organizations will be able to innovate, find ways of doing something else. They will upskill. There will be new opportunities, and our economy is going to rise tremendously. In the 90s, what it was to in the 2020s, it's a very, very different color altogether. So I think this is going to be faster. We are going to see changes every 3, 4, 5 years faster. We just saw ChatGPT to DeepSeek and whatnot, and now
And Grok 4 as of today.
yeah, and quantum computing is coming. So it kind of talks about the huge amount of disruption which is going to happen further. So we in the those who are connected with the human resources, we are on in one perspective, it's very exciting time.
Right.
But in the another perspective, it's also very, very one of the most disruptive time that we all can think of.
Okay, final thoughts. I have less than 30 seconds, so I'm going to come to Tanuj. If the cuts were the first wave, what would you say is the next couple of sectors that are going to be affected by this AI boom?
I think services that India depends on a lot, GCC, IT sector, what is going to happen is the outsourcing is not going to make sense. You can have one person do what a whole call center in India is doing.
Yeah.
5 people do. So why not have them in America? It's easier to communicate with them, time zone difference, etc. So I think while everybody what they're saying is right, we'll rescale whatever happened at the macro, the engine of India's economy will no longer be outsourced back-end jobs. All
Okay.
of NASSCOM, $300 billion will not exist. So what replaces that? We have to think about that.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much to all of my panelists, and I'm afraid we're completely out of time, and I think that we can go on with this discussion. But this evening's debate has laid bare a contradiction that will define the next decade of India's growth. AI promises unprecedented efficiency and new industries, but it also threatens to hollow out traditional jobs faster than we can retrain. India has the talent, the scale and the ambition, but whether that will translate into secure, rewarding work or just another gig economy treadmill is a question that each company, policymaker and professional will have to answer. Thank you to all my panelists for joining us this evening and to you for watching. We'll keep asking the tough questions on The Big Question.